Welcome to Madlit Musings, the podcast where you get to eavesdrop on your favorite authors without getting caught. I've been stoked to have authors like Angela Hunt, Bill Myers, Nicole Deese, Tessa Afshar, comedian Bob Smiley, and more on the show, and this year I have another great lineup of storytellers and truth-sayers. If you love to eavesdrop at coffee shops like I do, this is the podcast for you. It's where we get real, we get tough, we laugh, and we might even cry. It's where we meet authors on a different level, where every story and podcast episode has its own heartbeat. So hang out with me today. I'm Jaime Wright, your host at Madlit Musings. This is your podcast for real chats with real authors about real life. Today's episode was brought to you by Baker Publishing Group, with Revell and Bethany House Publishing as divisions. We're super excited to be sponsored by Baker Publishing Group and to bring you their fabulous authors and their fabulous lineup for 2025. Be sure to check them out at bakerpublishinggroup.com and also check out their online bookstore at bakerbookhouse.com. Hi everyone, it is Jaime Wright here with another episode of Madlit Musings. And I have I hate introductions. I'm so bad at them. So, hey everyone, it's Jaime. I have Sarah Loudin Thomas with me today.
Hey, Jaime.
Hi, how are you?
This is like our annual, let's get on and chit chat for a while. And then, right. We need to actually do a podcast.
Right. We should actually hit record so everyone else can hear what we're talking about. But I think we've covered pets, vacations, summer activities, and snack drawers.
Yes. Very important topics.
Yes. The essentials in life. So now we're just going to talk about books.
All right.
Yeah, let's talk about books. You have a book coming.
I do.
I'm excited.
This is my 9th full-length novel, which
awesome.
It's like, I remember when I first started, like the first book came out, and I would look at favorite authors, and I would look at their books lined up on the shelf. Yes. And I think, man, what does it feel like to have enough books to line up on a shelf? And now I do.
I know. You get that first book and that looks cool on the shelf. And then when you get the second one and you have 2, you're like, my life is complete.
Yes.
It's perfect. But you have 9 of them. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
And have you gotten your copies of this book yet?
Actually, I just got my copies, which was a little bit surprising because there have been times when I have gotten my copies like after readers, after publication.
Yes.
Like the whole world has my book and I have yet to hold it.
I know. So, I'm like, what? Mm-hmm.
So this time,
we should. That's awesome. We should say the name of the book since we're talking about it. It's called These Blue Mountains.
Yes. So there's kind of, it's not technically a series, but there's These Tangled Threads, These Blue Mountains, and then there will be another book next year that's These something. And they're all loosely tied to the flood of 1916 in Western North Carolina, which it's been a little surreal because with These Tangled Threads, it was really about that flood and Biltmore Village and Asheville. And then that came out in April, and in September, we saw that flood happen all over again, except worse. So as I was doing the research, I kept, you know how it is. You do research, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's fascinating. It doesn't fit in this book. What do I do with that? Well, I'll put it over here, and I'll write a book about that later. So
exactly.
So this is one of those where I found out this incredibly interesting piece of information while I was researching the flood, and I was like, well, I'm going to have to write about that eventually. So what I learned during that flood of 1916, I was reading and discovered that there's a little town in Western North Carolina, Hot Springs. You can go there. There are hot springs there in Madison County, and they need you to come because they're still recovering from Hurricane Helene.
Yes.
But right after the flood, World War I, there was a German enemy alien encampment in Hot Springs, North Carolina. And I learned about this because these German men, they were sailors. They were not soldiers. And there's already a few reviews about the book, and people are like, oh, this German man who joined the Navy. I'm like, no, he was just a sailor. These were civilians.
Yeah.
So basically what happened was they were in U.S. waters when World War I broke out. And the United States said, congratulations, you will be remaining with us for the duration. and they
Oh
sent
my
them to
gosh.
an internment camp in Western North Carolina. And people have heard about this with Japanese internment camps in World
Right.
War
Yeah.
II,
Yeah.
but it also happened during World War One. And the men who were sent there, so this was basically an entire ship full of sailors. There was an entire orchestra who had been performing on the ship because it was a passenger ship. There were passengers.
Oh my gosh.
So these people are in, and there's a book that I used heavily to research this called
Okay.
the German Invasion of Western North Carolina, because there were actually more Germans in the internment camp than there were residents in the town, which
Wow.
was a little scary initially.
Sure.
But eventually, the town really kind of warmed up to this, and they would come. There was a fence around. They put them in what used to be a hotel. It's like a hotel that was on hard times.
Sure.
So they went
Yeah.
and they stayed in this hotel. The orchestra would come out on Sunday afternoons and perform, and the townspeople would come out and like listen to the orchestra play. But what these guys did, this was kind of where the seed of the story came from.
Okay.
I guess they were a little bit bored, and they built an entire Bavarian village out of flood debris.
What?
So like all of the driftwood, the boards, just the general debris left over from the flood, they built. And oh my gosh, everybody go online and Google German internment camp, Hot Springs, North Carolina, to see this village. It's spectacular. There's like 2-story buildings built from flood debris. They built a church. The shingles on the church were flattened Prince Albert tobacco cans. They built a working carousel. So a carousel that spun, it had 4 gondolas. And I'm like this is amazing. Of course I'm going to write a story about this.
Oh yeah, you have to.
So I got this book, German Invasion of Western North Carolina. And as I'm flipping through it, like page 4, you know how you come across a story idea and you're like, well, this is better than anything I could make up. So I'm just going to use this.
Right.
So there was a German woman whose brother was in the internment camp, but she didn't know that.
Okay.
She's in Germany. It's 15, 16 years later. Her brother had been taken prisoner. She thought he'd been sent to an internment camp. She was notified at some point that he died. That's all she knew. She didn't know what happened. She didn't know where. It was just this lack of closure. So she opens up a magazine in Berlin, Germany, and there's a photograph of Friedrich von Pritzwitz. I love that name. I know. He was
that name.
The German ambassador to America. And he's laying a wreath on a monument to German sailors who died in a typhoid outbreak in a camp in Western North Carolina. And there's the monument. And then in front of the photograph, there are these little white crosses. And on the very front cross in the photograph is her brother's name.
Oh.
And so she finally knew what happened. She wrote a letter.
Right.
They communicated back and forth. So I was like, all right.
Aha. Guess who's writing this?
It's not a sister and brother. It's going to be a woman and her fiancé.
Oh.
Who has disappeared. And it's 15, 16 years later. She's been pining away for him all these years. And she finally sees this picture. She goes to America to find out if she can reclaim the body, bring it back to Germany, to his mother who is dying. You know, there's always a little extra something.
Right.
But when she gets there, and actually historically they did disinter these bodies and move them to Tennessee. So that coincided nicely with my storyline.
Mm-hmm.
But in my story, when they disinter what's supposed to be her fiance's coffin, he's not in it. There's the body of a woman instead.
Sarah, you are like crossing into my territory now.
I thought you'd like this.
My pride level in you was already really high, but now it's off the charts. Keep going.
I have to give my editor credit. I was like, okay, and they're going to dig it up, and he's not going to be in there. And he's like, well, wouldn't it be cool if the wrong body was in there? I was like, why, yes.
Why, yes, it would.
So now she has to not only try to figure out what happened to her fiance, but who's this woman?
Who's this woman? Auto pre-order. Not that I didn't already, but doing it now. Everybody stop. Just hit pause. Go to Baker bookhouse.com and pre-order this novel.
And there's a pre-order special. There's pre-order special.
Pre-order special. Yep. When you're done pre-ordering, come back and listen to the rest of this podcast. All right, and we're back. Now that you've pressed pause and you've pre-ordered the novel, please continue, Sarah.
That's all I'm going to tell you, because you're going to have to get the novel and find out, like,
gosh.
I brought it back to, it's around Asheville, North Carolina, Black Mountain, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Hedda is the main character. She actually stays at the Thomas Wolfe boarding house. It was my old Kentucky home back then. Thomas Wolfe's mother owned a boarding house. You can still visit it in Asheville today. Yep. So she stays there. Thomas Wolfe puts in an appearance in the novel because he very conveniently was traveling through Germany during this time, 1930s. And Black Mountain College plays a big role. Hedda's a musician. Her fiancé always wanted to be an artist. So there's all this. And I love writing about a place. You know, I lived in Asheville for 23 years.
Yeah.
So, and the timing is great because I want people to get excited about Asheville in that area because that they need it. They need it. Come visit. It's open. Everything's good, but there's still a lot of recovery happening in this area.
Yeah. Not that you want someone to think of your book during a natural disaster, but when all of that was happening with Asheville and the hurricanes, I was literally thinking about these tangled threads. And I was like, Sarah, you had no clue when you wrote this that it was going to happen again.
Well, and I was writing and I was like, I can't even imagine what this must look like. Right. And then September 28th, I turned on the TV and I'm like, oh, that's what it looks like.
Now, not to get off the subject of these Blue Mountains because I want to stay there, but I'm going to go away from this. I'm not going to, but I'm going to.
Come back.
I know in the original floods in, like you said, it was 1916, I think.
Yep.
The Biltmore got hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
In comparison, one to the other, which one was worse for the Biltmore specifically?
This one was worse.
Was it?
But 2025 or 2024 was worse. I had pictures of like the water line on the gatehouse at Biltmore Estate in 1916. And it was like just above the first floor window. And it was like 4 feet higher in 2025.
Oh my goodness.
It was the amount of water that poured through and it happened so fast. Somebody said somebody from the coast said, well, we're prepared for hurricanes. Why did you all not prepare for a hurricane? And I'm like, because this has never happened. Even in 1916, it was dramatic and it was horrific, but it wasn't so this kind of just sudden fast washing out.
Right.
The entire region just got washed down the mountain. Right. And we lived in a house in East Asheville for 23 years. We moved there because we lost a house in a flood on the coast of South Carolina. We were in Hurricane Floyd. Right. And so we said, let's move to a place where that doesn't happen. And the house we moved out of flooded. And we were just, we felt terrible, but we also were so grateful that we didn't have to do that twice.
Right. And that's fair. It was weird when the flooding happened that weekend, totally off topic as far as your book goes, but I had sent Pepper Basham because she lives in Asheville. Yep. I sent her a text message and she responded, but she was really surprised because she hadn't been able to receive any messages. Like nothing was getting in and nothing was going out. And for whatever reason, that entire day, I was the only person that could get through. So I was looking up, they were trying to find water. So I'm going online and I'm going, okay, such and such a county road. If you turn here, you can go to this water base. And so I was like, she says, we have no internet. Look at highway such and such. And so from Wisconsin, we're trying to guide them through roadblocks and things to get to where they could get supplies. It was the closest I think I've ever been in something like that. And I was just like, I was stressed out in Wisconsin and I was dry on my deck, but I was like, wow, this is crazy.
We were very much in the edge of it here in the foothills of North Carolina. But
Yeah.
we were out of power for 5 days. We had trees down everywhere. But as communications began to come back online, we're like, oh, well, not so bad after all.
Now, bringing it back to these Blue Mountains,
Yeah.
did the floods with the internment camps, did that affect the internment camps at all? Is that why you ran across these two things, or how did that fit together?
The internment camps happened after the flood. So the flood was 1916. This was like 1917 when they were interned there. So it was the debris that was left behind by the flood.
Okay. So it wasn't that they went through the flood and then harvested, for lack of a better word, the debris. Yeah. But okay, got it. Okay. And so in your book, is your book like, does it split between the two time periods, or are we hear about what happened, but we're really set in the 1930s?
Yeah, it's very much set in the 1930s. Okay. So I talk about it being is caught between countries and world wars, because it's after World War I, but was really interesting to explore with her. Was her
Sorry, that was my phone was supposed to be off.
So she comes to America because she's trying to find out what happened to Fritz, her fiance. Right. She comes on a travel visa, but I had her come in like December, and it was January, February is when Hitler was elected chancellor of Germany.
Right.
So she's in America. Things are not good back in Germany, and it was interesting to explore, as a person who's in that moment at that time, that, there were people who are saying, this is wonderful. Germany had suffered incredible financial hardships. Things were very difficult. And here comes Adolf Hitler, who says, I'm going to fix this.
Right.
And there's a certain number of the population that's like, awesome, great. Let's do this.
Well, yeah, when you hear certain things that are promises along the lines of what you want to hear, so often you don't look at what you don't want to hear.
And so she's in America, and she's hearing this news, and she's beginning to realize that this maybe is not such a good thing. And now her travel visa is going to expire. What's she going to do? And so there's some exploring, what's it like to be an immigrant in a country where it's difficult to be an immigrant during this time. The number of people who were allowed to immigrate or emigrate the United States was drastically reduced during this time period. So she overstays her visa, and that's going to cause some challenges.
You just rabble-roused with this book, Sarah.
All kinds of interesting things.
I'm just saying, there's people think of Sarah Loudin Thomas, and then they think about, the director of Mitford. There's a lovely little happy place that Jan Karen wrote, and all these nice, pleasant, thoughtful novels. And then there's Sarah's True Colors.
I bet you find this to be true too, is you write about the things you kind of want to know about, and you wonder about. And what was it like to be a German woman in Western North Carolina while Hitler is rising to power?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of leftover prejudice from World War I. Germans are not popular at this point. And then there's Garland, who's the deputy sheriff, who's kind of helping her in this experience. And maybe there's a little romance between them. And he was a guard at the camp back then. And so maybe he knows some things. And, I love to get into other people's heads and say, you've had this experience from life. How's that going to change the way you come at things? How's that going to make you make bad decisions? Isn't that what it's all about ultimately?
It is. It's funny though, like I think about what was your character's name again? Hedda. I think of Hedda, and you're talking about how she's kind of caught between the two world wars. And so I'm thinking, that's an interesting dynamic. But then if I put myself in her head, she doesn't know about World War II. Like even Hitler might be a little bit ominous, but the idea of everything he did, I'm not sure anybody could have even predicted the horrificness.
It's early enough in his reign, his whatever, that there's just hints of what's going to happen. Kristallnacht has not happened yet.
Right.
the things that seem so, like, when we look back on it, we're like, oh my gosh, that's just, it's little things like, I brought in the Bauhaus, which was a German art institute. And so Hedda's parents were artists, an architect and an artist at the Bauhaus. And she's a musician. And there's Anna and Joseph Albers, who are real people who had to come to America because Anna was Jewish. And they shut the Bauhaus, Germany shut the Bauhaus down because it was this hotbed of socialism. Yeah. And these people are coming to America, and they've experienced things that Hedda, as a blonde-haired, blue-eyed German woman, is like, wow, I didn't know.
Yeah.
So it's all those perspectives, and
right. Yeah, it is a crazy, wild period of time, that almost like that 10 or 15 years between the wars, because all of that changed. There's so much that changed even on warfare. Like, they went from like horses on the fields to, in 10 or 20 years, they were driving tanks.
Yeah.
And just crazy technological, everything was just booming at the same time chaos was coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes me feel, because, we all have those days when you wake up, you turn on the TV, you watch the news, and you're like, well, clearly the end of the world is coming. Right. It will be here any minute. But it's been that way. It's been that way forever. Right. So every time I start getting frustrated or feeling like I'm losing hope, I'm like, you know what? Yeah. God's in control, and He's got a plan, and He will use this too.
Yeah. And then I will admit, I go, but what are you thinking? Like, really? For real? Why are you doing this or allowing this? And, it's so hard sometimes when you're in those times to be like, I trust that God has a plan, because it almost sounds too cliche at times too.
It does. It sounds pat and like you're just, it's too hard. So I'm just going to say that instead. But I so believe that. Right. And so often it seems like when about the time when I'm like, I give up, it's impossible, it's never going to happen. And He's like, oh wait, no, here it is.
Right.
I was waiting until you stop trying to do it yourself.
Right. Exactly. I always think about that story, which is World War II, which is Corrie ten Boom, and her sister were in the concentration camp, and they had an outbreak of fleas in their dorm. I don't know if you remember the story. And the fleas were like eating them constantly. And Corrie was so upset. She's like, why would God, on top of everything, allow this infestation of fleas? And then only to find out that because of the fleas, the guards wouldn't come in. Yeah. And they had almost complete freedom in there to do Bible studies, to pray, to help each other. And so they started to thank the Lord for the plague of the fleas. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe God does know what He's doing. Okay, I do have to ask this though, because you mentioned a couple times earlier. You said Black Mountains and Black, but the title of the book is Blue Mountains.
So these Blue Mountains, she's comes to the Blue Ridge Mountains. There's times in the book where she's comparing the Alps, which are the mountains she's familiar with, to the Blue Ridge Mountains of Western North Carolina. But part of the story is set in the town of Black Mountain, North Carolina.
Interesting. Okay.
And there was Black Mountain College, which was this fascinating, like, cutting edge arts college. Located in Black Mountain, and they started it during the Depression. They're like, oh, let's start a college. That'll be great. And it was there's YMCA Blue Ridge Assembly, which you can still visit today. It's a church camp. And basically they would have church camps all summer, and then the college would meet there during the school year. Okay. And so I got to go out to Blue Ridge Assembly, and at some point they actually moved the college to Lake Eden Road, which is where I worked at Black Mountain Home for Children on Lake Eden Road for 16 years. And so I was like, oh, that's where the college used to be. And
neat.
It was very kind of alternative, artsy, which was also a fun thing, sort of maybe an unexpected thing to put into my book.
Yeah, that's cool though. And that's one of those things too, like, you don't, some of those things you don't hear about unless somebody local writes a story set in that area and they understand those nuances. And then you kind of get a glimpse into, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know about that.
I love finding those pieces of history that people just don't know about, and then building an entire novel around them.
Well, yeah. And who would have thought of a German internment camp out of World War I?
I had no idea.
No.
The pieces of history that we walk through and around every day without knowing is just rich.
That is. Now, you said the buildings that they built, they're still...
No, those are gone. So the village...
Oh, they are. Okay.
The Bavarian village that they built, once the internment camp was closed and they were all sent away, there was still some animosity and some bad feelings. Yeah. And of course, this is also when Hitler is on the rise in Germany, and the camp was absolutely decimated, destroyed. Yeah. But you can go back and look at the pictures, and they are incredible.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do that. That is so cool. I love it. So the book is called These Blue Mountains. It comes out July
15th.
July 15th. We have Hedda, the German pianist. We have Garland Jones, the local deputy. We have a coffin that may not have the right body.
It's supposed to have had Fritz Meyer in it, but doesn't.
We have a German internment camp. We have all kinds of really interesting things. I'm liking this. So, Sarah, if readers want to stay in touch with you, because obviously this is not the first of your many amazing novels, this is your 9th. So you have a backlist. What's the best way for them to follow you, get in touch with you, and learn more about your books?
My website, www.sarahloudinthomas.com, and I have a newsletter sign up on that, which I'm moderately good sending out.
Every author's claim, moderately to bad.
I sort of remember to do that. And then, of course, on Facebook and Instagram, and both those are Sarah Loudin Thomas.
Awesome. Well, Sarah, this has been so much fun. Everybody, if you didn't do it during our impromptu pause break, go pre-order These Blue Mountains, and then it'll be on its way to you. And if you get it from Baker Bookhouse, you get some pre-order goodies. And Baker usually ships them out earlier than Amazon. I just want to say that. So, all right. Thanks, Sarah, so much for being here today.
Thank you, Jamie.
And that's a wrap for today here at Madlet Musings. I hope you join us again. And if you want to, be sure you like and subscribe here at your favorite podcast player or on YouTube, because you won't want to miss all the wonderful alerts that let you know when we have another conversation for you to eavesdrop on.